We hope that you join the nation wherever you will be as we pray together, committing the nation into the hands of God. The motto says, "For God and my country." So we are exercising these things right about now. And liberty, free for liberty, is one of the things also. We are being loyal to the anthem of Uganda and being loyal to the motto of the country. We have always echoed it in this program that the national anthem has these lines, free for liberty. The first stanza, right? And then
the third line.
The third line.
The last three words.
And the last three words has it that free for liberty.
Yes.
So this is where we always stand, and this is why we always have this program running on all the social media platforms, Facebook and YouTube. This is Free for Liberty, and it starts right now. By the way, you who is joining us for the very first time, Free for Liberty runs on a Monday, on a Wednesday, and on a Friday, 4 to 5 p.m. We dissect freedom from the biblical perspective and to the worldly perspective, to the reality, okay? Removing the context, removing the Bible out of the Bible and bringing it to the reality of where we are living today, making it a practical thing to do or to deal with. And today we are continuing with our conversation, or our topic of discussion, that is understanding the natural method of multiplication. And we are talking about the livestock and how we can, develop and use livestock as a scheme of making money. How we can turn our livestock into a money-making venture. And with me in the studio, as usual, is omudigu, the wise man from the East.
Thank you.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, please.
How are you doing today?
We are doing good as usual, and
Yes.
I'm glad that we shall be having a national prayer day. As you've mentioned, God is first in everything.
True.
And it's always a pleasure for us to sit before the congregations, the audiences, and be able to share a few facts here and there. The Lord Jesus had to say something. He said that you will know the truth, and the truth shall set you free.
Yes.
That is, He himself gets to say that. He says, and the truth shall set you free. It doesn't end there. I was just thinking about it, actually. And I said, if I'm a seed, just think about this. If I'm a seed and I'm 58 years old and I'm still a seed, that is, I hope you get the connection.
Yes, I understand.
I'm a seed.
Yes, you.
And if I'm a seed and I'm 58 years old and I'm still a seed.
After 58 years, you are still a seed.
Yes.
Okay.
If I'm a seed, and after 58 years,
You are still.
I'm still a seed. I've never been planted in the right environment to develop myself, and then I don't have freedom. Because as long as it has taken you 58 years, still a seed.
You have not developed.
You have not yet been planted in an environment where you are able to fully grow. Then that means you don't have the what? The freedom.
The freedom to grow.
But when I'm free and fully developed, then I've attained full and complete freedom. So we come in to share about free for liberty. As a basis, this is an answer. This is, I would say it's a response to what had been ushered 58 years ago.
Was already saying.
It was already said.
Declared,
it was
prophesied.
prophetically
Yes.
declared to the new birth of a nation. And in the new birth of the nation, what are they saying? You are born to be free. That means you are free for liberty.
So on the birthday of Uganda,
Yes.
it was a blessing it was a prophecy or a blessing that was put upon him, upon her,
Yes.
that
you are free
you are
for
free
liberty.
for liberty.
Yes. And remember what we said. We said that it's only where the Spirit of the Lord God is,
Yes.
where there is liberty. So we get to see, like, liberty is a tangible or physical sign or symptom of the presence of the Holy Spirit.
Unless you are at freedom.
Unless you are at freedom.
You will not grow.
No, you're not. You're not. Actually, one way that man can be free, you get it? The only way that it can be expressed, in any case, you cannot even worship God unless you're free.
Okay.
That's why God, when God wanted the Israelites to worship him, he tells Pharaoh, please let my people go. They don't have to worship him when they're under bondage. So it's like we are breaking away from enslavement, we are breaking away from captivity. And that's why Jesus, when in Luke 4:18, he says that I've come to set the captives free. You get it? So as long as we have people that are captives, it is the captives that brought Jesus that he gets to set them free.
He came so that he can set you free.
To be free.
His entire purpose is to see his creation free, living freely.
And that's why we put emphasis on liberty. It is something that people may take long to understand. It is more like, it's mystical, it is more of a secret. And even by definition, it is hard to define what freedom is. It is very hard to define what liberty is. You get it? But it is something that is very crucial if at all we are to move forward.
Is it because it is hard to define? Is it because we are enslaved in different areas?
Yes.
There is financial, there is physical,
there is spiritual. There are many bondages that bind up man. So at times it may be hard to differentiate which one.
So you find if I am financially at liberty, yes, I am either...
You could be spiritually crippled, maybe by habits may try to captivate you. And actually, at times you may not be aware. That's where the problem may come in. That many people are unaware. For example, as we said, that if somebody is working for money, he may not know that he is bound by that. Instead of him making money work for him, and it is him working for money.
Actually, some people
don't know that is bound.
Some people don't even know that they're actually working for money.
But if you're employed, what is that?
For them,
that's why we were struggling, and this is the debate that we are struggling with. That now we need to have people that can have what we call the employer's mindset, or who are entrepreneurs themselves.
So, an employer's mindset is a man who thinks of more of creating.
Definitely, is an investor.
God says we are co-creators.
That is co-creation. So that means this guy is already blended. Instead of him to think he's going to hunt for money, this man has to make money work for him because he hasn't going to pay his employees.
That is very,
that is very interesting.
Yes.
Get it? So that's why, as a recap for what we had shared last week, we were looking at livestock.
Actually, on Wednesday.
On Wednesday,
yes.
Last Wednesday, what we were looking at livestock as an industry for job creation. And we said that it's something that we may not know, and as an emphasis for what we had been shared previously. And we said that man has a principle. And money, you cannot put money in lifeless things. And then we say, when we get to livestock, then we are there. Because livestock, these are living things. They are things that contain blood. Yes. They contain life. So that means if I go my money and then put it into livestock, then I'm at it. I expect multiplication because it is in there that I'll be able to understand, one, the natural production concept, which we were referring to the gestation periods. And we were not only looking at that, but out of that, we were able to understand also the multiplication concept. You get it? If I had a cow and it has conceived, well, how long will it take to multiply itself? You get it? And we were looking at the days, and all those days are itemized and those days are known. For example, we said a cow, it is how many days? 280. There's somebody out there that doesn't know. If I had a cow and the cow gets pregnant, how long will it take to give birth to a calf? He doesn't know. I mean, you live in this earth and you may even die. What if God was asking you? Knowing
the production system of animals, or the natural system of multiplication.
It can help you to know, one, the commercial. Because you know, if there is natural production, then there must be commercial or artificial production, and that is trade.
And that gives us that certainty to know that after this period, I'm ready to reap.
You know, look here. It is like an investment. In an investment, everything is calculated. It is not by sheer luck. No, you know the input and you must know the output. You know the cost price, and then you must also the what? The selling price.
But do you know the duration, like you know in the livestock?
And that's why we were in there. Remember that when we were looking at all those concepts, they drove us even up to mathematics to understand what are called multiples. And we said that a multiple is a number. When that number multiplies itself with an integer, then that means that is the multiple. And we said that these are different. If you have to look at the multiples of 2, they will be different from the multiples of 3. And we were looking at the multiples, the concept of the multiples, and looking at that and knowing that understanding the concept of the multiples in mathematics can help me to understand the capital input.
Okay.
Knowing that if I put in, for example, if my capital is 100,000, I don't expect much more profit than one that has put in a capital of 1 million because of the multiplication of the multiple effect.
So if I put my 5,000, I should not expect...
You don't expect millions of money.
Oh, you don't expect even 20,000.
And that's why we told you that these people that are in the gambling industry, the sports betting and the like, you know, they are just fooling people. He comes and lures you. He tells you put in 1,000 and you'll be able to get this. You know, that concept doesn't work. Okay. It doesn't work. But you know, as we told you, that we are doing all this that to get somebody liberated.
Freedom is our purpose.
Freedom is our purpose.
Freedom is the purpose of this program.
Yes. And as we shared there, we come to a concept. And one this could be attached to us. We said the enemy of grass is your enemy.
True.
Because now we are looking at livestock as an industry. And not only an industry, but a job creation industry.
Yes.
And now we are saying that the enemy of grass is
my enemy.
And the enemy of grass is the enemy of milk.
That one I got it well.
And we said that as long as we have enmity to milk, it is more like enmity to God. Why? Because milk is one of the most outstanding promises that God promises the people that have been under enslavement and those that are moving over to
freedom.
He
says, I've given you the land flowing with milk
and honey. Milk
comes first.
And remember what you shared with me. You said, is that the reason as to why mammals, only those that produce their young ones are alive, they get to feed them on milk.
Yes.
You get it?
And why?
And that's so interesting.
And why would God say a land flowing with milk? Why milk? Why honey? In all the other food nutrients, all the drinks and the foods we have around.
And now we are looking at that the milk.
Yes.
Milk, of course, comes from an animal. And that's what we said as we were sharing. I said that when they were reporting about Abraham is believed to be the father of faith.
The father of faith.
Yes, you get it. But when they are reporting about him, you know what they say? They say he was rich in livestock first, 2, silver, and 3, gold. And we said, oh, this must be the hierarchy of wealth. You begin with livestock. And that was an emphasis to exactly the invention that we have come up to understand. That first you must begin, money has to flow into things that are living. And you get it?
They're able to
multiply
and reproduce.
And we said that no, there are many people, remember that which we shared. And we said that now what we have always understand is that many people may come up and say, we need to invest in real estate development. And we said, man, these guys are telling you that. But the truth of the matter, basing on the principles, you get it? If you are investing into real estate, buildings are lifeless. These things have to edge out.
They have a timeline.
Yes, and we said, no, people, instead of you going to these people who want to sell their cement and they want to sell their iron bars. They're advertising the iron sheets and the like. You get it? We say, no, move this way. There is an industry here that can create even more for many. What did we say? We said livestock alone as an industry, it can create both the professional and the unprofessional jobs.
Yes.
We were looking at
the so-called casual workers.
Yes. We were looking at the doctors. We were looking at the store managers. We were looking at the clerks. You get it? Yes. And we were also looking at the non-professionals, like the herdsmen. We were also looking at the milkmen. You know, it is well vast. You get it?
Yeah.
Just as an industry.
And then finally to the men who are in the butcher.
And then we went and dissected the cow.
To the last consumer.
Yes. Telling you that there is one that will sell beef alone. And that man has opened up a butcher. That is a business.
Yes.
And is making a livelihood out of that. We said it doesn't only end there. There is even who will only go and sell the legs. Monopoly.
Yes.
Many women are employed right into this. They are selling chigere. I get it.
And it is a businessman love to eat moloko.
Yes. There is a young man there that is only selling intestines. And it's not only ending there. There is one that is dealing an industry, full industry, that will be in for the hides and the skins. And we said the shoes that we put on and the belts that we use, the leather jackets, all these are products of leather.
We talked about
even the chairs now, and we were looking at the horns of the cows.
Yes.
You get it? So it was vast. But it was then that we came to a conclusion of the 3H. And within the 3H, we were looking at the herbivore, we were looking at the herb and the herbicide. You get it? And we said, what are the herbivores? We said the livestock belong to the group of animals that are called herbivorous. These are animals that entirely feed on grass. And we gave examples of those that feed on grass. You get it?
Yes.
And knowing that they are feeding on green grass. You get it? And we say the herbs, we said these are plants that can work as medicine. These are medicinal plants. When we take them, in them they have substances that can heal us from diseases, that can kill worms in us.
And purify us.
Yes. So those are the herbs. And then we said, there is now a problem, there is an enemy that we're identifying. Another H that because of the rhyming, it was combined to the other H. That is the herbicide.
Herbicides.
And that is, we were saying the enemy of grass
is the herbicide.
You get it?
That is what the second H?
Or the third H. Because we were looking at the herbivore, herb, and then herbicide.
Herbivore,
and then,
herb, and herbicide.
Yes. And what did we say about a herbicide? By definition, you know these guys know how to package up things. They say, first they say, a herbicide is a pesticide. Do you mean grass is a pest? Because you know they say that the pests are either animals or birds, so insects that destroy man's crop. But when these guys are defining, if you go to find the definition of herbicide, they'll say it is a pesticide used to kill unwanted plants. Now that is the concept now that we need to clear. It's another bondage now. This is another captivity. If we ever get to think that there are plants that are unwanted, from when? From when do we get to put plants that are unwanted? And according to who?
Who determines that this plant is unwanted?
Is wanted or unwanted? When we get to read the scriptures, we see that in Genesis 3:18, during the fall of man, God spoke out something. He tells man, you know, like you warn your friend, you warn because man is a conscious being.
Yes.
You get it? And man being a conscious being, God gets to speak to him and he tells him, now because of the ground that has been cast, this ground shall grow for you thorns and thistles. It will produce, he says it will produce thorns and thistles for you. But he goes ahead and he tells him, and he says, you eat the plants of the field. Now, this is something that is real, very of keen interest. When God speaks to man, he tells him, you'll eat the plants of the field.
Okay.
Are you getting me? You know, plants of the field, that means this could be crops.
Yes.
When they are planted in the field. But again, there are plants that can naturally grow by themselves, and they are food to us, or they are medicines to us.
And because we did not plant them, we call them weeds.
You know that now that is the concept. This is something that we need to chop off. Who brought in this concept? And who? Because look here, when God says this is what I get to understand from my own conceptualization. I get to see that this was now a basis. Because now he has told him of thorns. You know thorns prick.
Yes, thorns
prick. You can't use your hands. He's telling him, you know, now those thorns, this you can't touch them. You get it? You can't touch them. You can't handle them. This prick. This will pierce you. So this was the basis for the agriculture tool implement use. Just like gumboots. Why do people put on gumboots?
So because of the thorns and the
thorns and it was one eye opener that now man would grow industrial. Okay. Man will now look at how he can make now tools.
How you can turn the negative whatever of thorns.
The thorns and the thistles are there for man to make tools. Now man to become a tool maker.
So in other words, the existence of the thorns and the thistles brought out the innovation within man to create tools and hoes and whatever.
Of course, look at their nature. All of them are at arm's length. A hoe, it will be a distance from you. That means you can look at an axe.
Pull it off.
Look at an axe. Look at a panga. Look at all the tools that we use. The pitchfork. If we have to look at the shovel, if we have to look at the panga, if we have to look at the rake, all these tools, it was just a preparation that man now gets to involve himself with the tools because he will be dealing with things that can quickly hurt or harm him.
Social distance.
Yes. So, but now, what is the problem now? Because we get to see that garden tools because the garden tools now can either be divided into hand tools or power tools.
Okay.
You get it? Power tool. You're using fuel. These are automated. You like tractors and the like. But we still now have these that can be used manually. They are tools, and they're the ones that now we use. And what are these for? Actually, when you get to see in agriculture, this is a concept that many people may forget. You know, at times we get to make invasions. One way to fool man, or one way to captivate him, is to make a bypass. You get it? A bypass. You make him jump a step. Okay. Are you getting me? Because actually, if you are to really understand the concept of the weeds, we first need to look at the types of cultivation. You know, in cultivation, we have what we call primary cultivation. When somebody ever gets to speak about primary cultivation, he's talking about bush clearance.
The things that are done first.
Yes.
Before
you first clear the bush. Are you getting me? Okay. And there is even a season for that. You don't just clear a bush. The season has to be there. It must be a dry season, and in the dry season, what are people doing? They are clearing the bush.
Slashing, burning.
Yes. So that one, it involves what? It involves bush clearing. So first is bush clearing. That is the first step. Primary cultivation.
Paving the way.
You get it?
Yes.
And it is one way you're demarcating. You're demarcating what you are going to grow, where you are going to grow. That is primary cultivation. Are you getting this? Yes. 2, you do what we call secondary cultivation.
After primary, we jump.
You go now to secondary. Now, in secondary, you prepare the garden according to the seed that you're going to plant. You know, it is not like this stupid way that somebody rushes up. It's like he wasn't aware that he was going to. Farming is a planned activity. You get it? You don't just wake up one day and you say, no, it is something that you need to sit down. It's a production. It is production. In production, you don't suddenly just wake up. You sit down and calculate.
So the second cultivation,
you prepare the ground.
For you to do the second cultivation, you must do it in knowledge of the kind of
seed that you're
going to plant.
If you're going to plant millet, you know the nature of the seed. And you know how fine the soil has to be.
Okay.
If you're going to plant maize, you also know. So it depends now to the secondary cultivation that the secondary cultivation will determine the seed that you are going to plant within a given field. You get it?
Yes.
But now, it doesn't end there. It is after this that now you plant.
After the second cultivation.
You sow. After the secondary cultivation, you sow. So, weeding comes after the two.
Weeding is the third stage.
It is the third stage. And what are you weeding? When you're weeding, that means now weeding of the crop planted. The crops that are planted, you get it? It is within that range that now you get to remove out what we would call the weeds. And actually, when you're doing this, you are also thinning. You are removing the excess. Because there are too many,
yes.
the spaces are not enough.
What is
you remove
planted officially?
Yes. Now you are planting production right into the ground. When you're weeding, you're looking at them. You are gathering the soil back to the plant. If it is groundnuts, you're covering it. Are you getting me? If it is, you are doing it that it can be able to. But now somebody comes in. Because weeding is a process, and actually here in our local languages, weeding is not the same as digging. Plowing, if you're plowing, or if it's not the same as weeding. Weeding is kokola. You are already caring. It is a method of caring for the crop.
Or is a way that we select and isolate. Like we are filtering.
Yes. It is now a total care. It's a total concern for what you have planted.
A selection of judgment. You're passing judgment.
Yes. So now what happens is this. Now the use of herbicide is an abuse to the cultivation process. I would say that.
Okay.
Because as long as now you're bringing in the herbicides, that means you're creating a bypass. There is something that is going to happen. And you know what is going to happen? You are going to hinder the tool production industry.
That's when you use the herbicide.
As long as now you're using a chemical. Because a herbicide is a chemical.
Okay. Do these herbicides have an effect to the ground?
Definitely. Because we have those that are, they call them systematic, and then we have those that are selective, and we have the non-selective. Now, actually, it was even put down by the World Health Organization that a herbicide like glyphosate is very dangerous. It contains cancer-causing agents.
Okay.
So you're using it, but now you're spreading cancer. That is glyphosate. You think you're destroying the grass. That's why I told you that the enemy of grass is
your enemy.
And the enemy of grass is the enemy of milk. And remember, we said that the first foundation of wealth is livestock. The first foundation of production is livestock. So as long as one comes in and he has come in to hinder the growth of grass. You know, I was looking at grass. Grass has color green, not so?
True.
And we get to see that when you get to look at the scripture in Genesis 9:3, it says, everything moving that lives, he says, this is what God was saying, every moving thing that lives shall be food for you. And as I gave you the green plants, I give you everything. So that means it is green first. That is the scripture. What does he say? He said, as I gave you, are you seeing? As I gave you the green plants, I give you everything. You know, in traffic law, what does green indicate? Green, what does green orders you or mandates you to go forward, to move ahead, to continue your way, or to start from where you have been stopped.
Go, start again and go.
So there is greed. But now somebody, because of greed, or because of selfishness, what does he want to do? He wants to destroy the greed. He wants to destroy vegetation. But remember that herbivores, they live their direct livelihood on vegetative matter.
So when you destroy the grass,
you destroy it. Is one other way. If you see anybody carrying a herbicide, is an enemy of the cows, is an enemy of the sheep, is an enemy of the goat, is an enemy of the elephant. Now you're killing poachers. A poacher may kill one for survival. Okay. But now look at somebody that is spraying the grass. He'll kill the known and the unknown. He'll kill the snails. He'll kill the grasshopper. You know, all these are under the group of the herbivores. And you don't think we have to give an account for all that? You get it? So, that's why we say that in Genesis 1:29-32, and God said, behold, I've given you every plant yielding seed that is on the face of the earth, and every tree with seed in its fruit. You shall have them for food. Green. All this which you want to destroy is food.
This is food to the soul, to the body.
Are you getting me? So that's why we say we are becoming tough over this. You get it? We are getting tough over what? Over the herbicide. Because we are looking, this herbicide is going to kill a job creation industry. And it's something that is very serious. Or someone may take it casually. But you get it. But we need someone that can foresee.
They are making the users of the farm tools.
You're killing the industry.
Number two, you are causing a disease to the
cancer. Cancer is close.
So how does this cancer spread? In the process of spraying
the chemical itself. Look, if it can kill the grass, how about a human being? Remember, in feeding, there is what we call primary. We have the primary consumers.
Then there is
this in the food web? We have the primary consumers, and then we have the secondary consumers. And it may surprise you that actually, if you look at the big five, if they are talking about the big five, they are talking about the biggest creatures on earth.
The big five.
The big five. Among the big five, you look at the alpha.
Okay.
What does it feed on?
The big five.
It feeds on what?
Grass.
On grass, on vegetative matter.
Yes.
How about the buffalo?
It's the same thing.
How about the rhino?
The same thing.
How about the hippo? You know the big five, all the big five feed on grass.
So in the big five there's no lion. So the lion being the king of the jungle.
No. The lion is not among the big five. No, the lion is not among the big five. And actually the lion is a secondary consumer because it feeds on flesh, it's a canaanite. Are you getting me? But now we are looking at those that are real gigantic. The gigantic things are primary consumers. They are feeding directly on grass. Are you getting me? And that's why, even as human beings, human beings are omnivorous. We eat meat and we eat also. We eat flesh and we also eat. But we are all told that green is more healthier.
True.
Are you getting me? Green is more healthier.
Add some vegetables in your food.
So vegetable herbs have to be part of your daily meal every day. You get it?
Yes.
So it was. It is basing on that. Then now we need to derive a slogan. According to the scripture, we have to take it that every green plant is for food. It may not be your food. Don't be selfish, sir. You get it? It may not be green, may not be your food as a human. But remember, you're a king, you're a ruler. They are subjects. They are birds, they are animals, they are reptiles.
Whose food you're destroying?
Yes.
If it's not yours, it's for someone else.
If it's not yours, then it's for somebody else. It is for your subject, it's for your cow.
Another man is meat, another man is poison.
That's it. So, to us, this is a slogan that we need to run over to you. You know, we want this, if this can be conceptualized right into your understanding, if you're a planner, let this open us up, or else we may remain under neocolonialism. We have to rely on foreign industries to produce for us. We'll be making market, we'll be just a land of market for other people that are they are making money. They make money out of us. So now let's go livestock. We are producing for ourselves. We are developing ourselves. We are developing an investor's mindset within ourselves.
The employer's mind.
The employer's mindset within ourselves. But don't think of a person who may already think of imports. We are looking at things that are coming from out.
We're just receiving.
You're receiving. We are all at the receiving end. We are all like beggars.
That is begging.
You get it? Others are producing for export. We are not producing for export. We are just receiving. We are importing. Just even importing simple things, candles. Importing a doll. Are you getting me?
Wigs for the hair.
You know, whatever that we are buying actually is trash. What would be trash is exactly what we are spending in.
What they consider trash on the other side is what for us we consider as a product.
Many of these are just recycled stuff. The plastics that we use, the old basins and the old tins and the old toothbrushes that we throw, they're the ones they took and they recycle and they bring you and you buy as new. That's recycling. The old basin that you used 10 years ago will be the same basin that you buy in market tomorrow. Why these guys can recycle? Are you getting me? So we get to look at all that, and we need now to say we need to battle the weed concept among the agrarian culture. Why would you be biased about grass? Because you may not know. Instead of you fighting the grass, you get it, find out what use it is for.
Okay, I was about to ask, before we go to that question, our dear viewers, we want to thank you. And the discussion we're having right now is understanding the multiplication method, how we can multiply our finances. But first, by understanding the natural method of how these things multiply. If we understand how the natural multiplications of things are done, both in the terms of our productions of crops to the production of livestock, you will be able to understand how best to multiply money. So, back to that question, and we are saying, why should we destroy these crops that we have, I would call them crops, that we have called as weeds? Why don't we use them for other things? Are there no other value of these plants?
That's what I was sharing. I said, you know, what if somebody, we always say that a poor branding, just poor branding, may render something that would be of use useless. Are you getting
just because
if somebody is just biased and he says, you know, these are unwanted, who tells you they are unwanted? That is the first thing. I told you that herbs, there are many, there are farms, there are people that are dealing in herbs, and they are very wealthy. Do you know how you get to destroy the wealth around your compound? You destroy wealth in your garden. Are you getting me? Eh? Because this, could you imagine just picking this, what you could call useless green things,
plants.
You get them and you go feed a pig, and you make money. You collect the greens that are just there and you feed them to your cows, you feed it to your goats, and then you produce milk and you sell the milk.
Instead of destroying them.
Instead, and what to us, we say this would be justice. Because if you're destroying, you're clearing vegetation completely. You get it? Then that means you are causing a problem. There is someone that is going to go hungry because of what you've done. You may be aware or not aware. Because that is the problem.
You're causing
you will cause the snail. Crisis. You will cause the snail to go hungry because you have.
But not only causing the snail to go hungry, you're also chasing the snail out of his home.
Natural habitation. Because as you know,
some die in the process.
What did we say? In the food web. You know, the food web is very clear. Nature is not man, eat man. Nature is not dog eat dog. No. We all derive from something else. Could you imagine the plants? The plants feed mostly from what? When plants are making their food, we are told the sun is cardinal. They are receiving the electron from the sun. The plants make the food. And then we, human beings and animals, feed on the plants. And what happens? We have again the secondary consumers. What do the secondary consumers do? Then these get to feed on flesh.
So they're eating the birds after
they're eating the birds, they're eating the other animals, and just like that, the chain goes on like that. So nature is not man eat man.
When you affect, now the line and the connection is becoming more clear. So when you destroy the grass, you have destroyed the animals. In other words, you have also destroyed humanity because you have killed their food.
No, our key emphasis was on the 2H. And we said we must put more weight onto the 2H and then lessen the 3H. As long as we put much more effort on the herbivores, the herbivorous animals, you get it? We understand them.
By the third H, even up to a certain point, can be of no value.
The what?
The third H.
The third H now, this one, because this, whoever that is making this is a scientist. Who blend it. I told you that what happens is that one will blend, he will brand whatever that he has made to be abused, because you tell it will take you long to cultivate. Are you getting me? Using a hand or doing this, the primary cultivation. No, what you do, just spray with a chemical. And this grass will dry up, and then you plant, and instead of you doing secondary cultivation, you will instead weed. Can you imagine? You're bypassing.
Then they tell you how.
And that is not how production goes. Production has always to be in process.
We are putting shortcuts.
We are putting shortcuts.
Shortcuts are not supposed to be there.
No, they're not supposed to be there.
Isn't that laziness?
That's laziness now. It is coming. That's how man now turns out to be sluggish. And what does the Bible say? It says, go to the ants, you sluggard. So there's that problem now. That what is happening to man, man is creating laziness for himself.
Thinking that they are simplifying life.
You think you're simplifying life, but you're causing a problem to yourself. What would be? What wrong with it? Because if I'm using tools, I build the muscles, not so. True. If you're using the chemicals, you are attaining cancer. Now tell me, which of the two do you prefer? Now the choice is yours. Once you're using the tools, the people, the men, the fathers and the mothers that lived before, they were strong. If the body is strong, then you can even live longer.
It's also a way of exercise.
It's an exercise. You get it? You get the muscles are thick. The guy has always to sweat when he's weeding and is cutting, is pruning. It is work. Are you getting me? But now what is happening? This man has become lazy. He's just spraying, and the next day he finds everything has wilted.
And then the rate of production.
So what happens now? Even the grass has to go through a natural, there is what we call the recycling process. The decay. All these things have to go under decay. You first cut them, they ferment.
Yes.
Like that. They don't just dry up.
So what would you also say about the first, the primary cultivation, where we are burning bush?
In primary cultivation, of course, they reduce onto the green matter. By burning, they are producing phosphorus, which is also a good mineral for many plants. And there are many plants that will grow better, and actually some seeds, they only germinate after what they call scarification. You roast them. There are seeds that can only germinate after they have been roasted. For example, most of these wild plants, for example, the thorn apple. The thorn apple, until the seeds are burned, if you burn, then you'll find the next week they are growing.
So when it's not burnt, they can't grow?
They can't grow. They'll remain there, inactive.
However much?
It must be after heat. So after you burn, it doesn't matter how many years that it will take. It will remain in there. Are you getting me? So, to us, that is a key emphasis. It is something that we must look at. We need now to change the slogan and know that green was first. Green, because that is what God says. He says, as I gave you the green plants, I give you everything. That means we begin with the green. We begin with the vegetation. If you don't preserve the vegetation, it must be the grass. Find use for the grass. And if you are to be an employer, if you are to develop an investor's mind, then you must find use for grass. It doesn't matter whether you use it to feed your animals, you'll make wealth. If you're gonna use these herbs, if you're gonna use these plants for herbs, for medicine, you're gonna treat up people's illnesses. Are you getting me? It is something that we are neglecting. You know how much money that the government may spend into buying medicine? When we have the plants, because it is these plants that do what? It is these same plants that we use, that they use for making the medicine. But what happens? We destroy them. We spread them. It's like they have no use. Are you getting me? So, this is a concept now that we need to fight out. Are we in for the livestock industry? Because now that is, we looked at this as the primary. If we have to think of investment, we are looking at the animals. If each one had a cow, you get it? If each one had a goat, are you getting me? If somebody would have the rabbits. So we will find that we have the green vegetation. And this green vegetation that we have, we are using it now for commercial. We are using it for production. We are producing out something that can add wealth to us. But that is something that we have always abandoned. We are opting for herbicides. And I know of many companies now, many shops, they are now dealing into herbicides. They are buying chemicals and they are advertising these chemicals, telling the people this is the easiest way to do it. But you're using the chemicals at the expense of the tool manufacturing industries.
And at the expense of people's lives.
Definitely, because cancer is expected. Are you getting me?
So every innovation you're trying to put, think twice.
You've got to, and look here, if at all, we always look at the amalgamation process. You don't think of making one that shall put an end to the other. I told you, men use hand tools. If you're just using 350 grams of glyphosate, but now that is to an expense of a hand hoe. It is to an expense of a slasher. It is to an expense of a rake. So who is doing a service to the other? That is something that we have to look at. So that is something that is real, very serious. It is something that we must all watch now with eagerness. If we are to be planners of tomorrow, these are things that we must look at and say, no, no sir.
We shall not allow this.
We need to cancel out this other third edge. We need to promote herbivores and we need to promote herbs. And we need to cancel out herbicide.
So, the medicines we are using today, which one is better? The going natural with the herbs, or using the manufactured?
Now the problem with the manufactured drugs is that they are commercial. They are commercial. These people are making them for money. Are you getting it? So that means, and yet they are expensive also. But now tell me, if you knew of the herbs, they are just at your compound. They are next to you. They are just right at the backyard.
You see, the people who are practicing those local herbs, Africans call them names.
No, the problem is now the brand. I tell you, the enemy is doing this. Actually, in the parable of the weeds, when Jesus was giving that story, you know what he said? That when the servants went, the master said, Master, didn't you plant good wheat into your garden? And where did the weeds come from? He said, the enemy did it. So the enemy is also at work here.
As you do your good thing, it comes also.
Yes. So somebody may only give a negative brand simply because he's after something. Of course, he doesn't want you now. He's a killer. To him, he's just doing a little chemistry here and there, and then he produces out something that will dedicate. Then he tells you, no, this one is going to. But what you're producing is going to have an effect on life. All life. All life. So don't think you're destroying the vegetation, you're also destroying yourself. Because the enemy of grass
is my enemy.
And the enemy of grass
is the enemy of milk.
And milk is your first. It is the first food that you ever tested on planet Earth and had no negative consequence over to you. Can you imagine? So now, that is the danger that we are in. And it's something that now we need to wake up. We are maintaining this. If our people are to be free, you get it? How are they to be free from poverty? Let us go. Put money in lively things.
Let's stop putting money in things that are lifeless.
Lifeless things. Keep your money in the pot, you're inviting poverty. Keep your money in your things, you're inviting poverty. Just keeping money right into your papers, it doesn't help. Running a savings account, it doesn't augur. Run a current account. You're putting it there and withdrawing and putting it there. Yeah. Yes. Because at the end of it, you have more total credits and you have more total debits.
Amazing. Yeah.
So the slogan is green first, then others.
Green first, and then others.
Green first and then others.
Even you who's watching right now, just make sure that
green first and then others. That's it.
Our entire life starts with green.
Yes.
The life of an animal starts with green.
Yes.
Because the animal has eaten this green grass, we shall be able to eat.
And have clean milk, good milk.
And vegetation also is good nutrients for our own body.
Yes.
So we thank you so much for watching and for following us through the entire week. This is our last episode for this week.
Yes.
And it is actually, we shall be saying goodbye to August on Monday. I was about to say goodbye to August now, but no, we shall wait and say it
on Monday. Yes.
When we shall be having that episode again. So we thank you so much for always sparing your time, your attention, and your resources in terms of MBs and airtime, whatever it is that you watch us. We appreciate and we always love you. And if you find this information as something very important, please share with your close friends and just let people get also and tap on the goodness of this information. Yes. Otherwise, we love you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We are always here sharing freedom and liberty with you people.
Yes.
We thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
We pray that you enjoy your weekend.
Yes.
And please tomorrow, if it is, as it is a national day of prayer, please pray wherever you may be.
Yes. Pray for your homes, pray for the country, pray for our lives. And stay tuned for our brothers that are coming in Wemenku.
Yes.
They'll give you good comedy. They are really great young men. So God bless you so much and have the best of the weekend as you get to enjoy and share with your family. Live at peace and remember you are free for liberty. God
See you Monday.
Uganda eri ku speedi ya yiriyiri era wotamanya speedi kweddukira wandirabika okusigalira. Ebintu bingi ebikyuka mu lutemya lw'eriiso bannabyabufuzi abapya batutumukanga butiko songa n'abakadde.
Mukwano gwange ndaba nkulamusizza mu linnya lya Mukama waffe Yesu Kristo omuyinza w'ebintu byonna. Amannya mpitirwa Musumba Mukisa Patrick akulembera ekkanisa ya Divine Focus Ministries esangibwa wano eno e Kampala mu Uganda. Neebaza Mukama olw'abatulaba era abatugoberera. Nzize okutegeeza program bwe zigenda okuba nga zitambula ngeri ki gy'osobola okutufunamu okuba ng'ogoberera obubaka buno obulungi obuviira ddala ku nnamulondo ya Mukama. Tujja kubeeranga ne morning prayer devotion oba akaseera akanyuvu ak'okusaba ku makya nti ab'omubiri bakeera ku makya ne bakola exercises z'omubiri ne babeera physically fit. You need to be spiritually fit. Weetaaga okubeera fit mu mwoyo ekyo ogenda kikola otya weetaaga okusaba kw'okumakya morning prayer devotion okuva ssaawa 12 ez'okumakya paka ssaawa 2 tugenda kuba nga tusaba nga tukusabira nga nawe tukukyajinga osobole okugenda mu maaso ate ssaawa wokka tulina ne lunch hour omubeera ekigambo ekigundiivu ekigenda okyusa obulamu bwo ekigenda okukuleetera okukula mu mwoyo nga tokyayuuzibwayuuzibwa na muyaga guno ekitunyweza mu katonda kutegeera kigambo kye ekyebuziba wano ogenda kusanga ekigambo ekitali kya bulijjo manyi owulidde bingi naye weetaaga kigambo nywera lunch hour okuva nga ssaawa 6 paka ssaawa 8 tobuzaabuzibwa wano ku Divine Focus TV wogenda okuba ng'osanga ekigambo ekigenda okukunyweza kubanga eyo yemmere ey'omwoyo weetaaga okulya obeere n'amaanyi n'okukula mu mwoyo namwo weetaaga okulya kati